Today, we're going to be talking about what the dismissive avoidant is feeling and why they're feeling this way. If you do not have a dismissive avoidant attachment style, the dismissive avoidant's inner world might be something that you're curious about. And in this video, I'll be deep diving into their common emotional patterning. If you yourself have a dismissive avoidant attachment style, this video will thoroughly help you to recognize your emotional patterns and get in better touch with your emotions, which is a pivotal step in actually healing dismissive avoidant attachment style. Real quick, if you're new here, my name is Sarah Whaling, and I'm a certified life, trauma, and relationship coach. I am a former fearful avoidant who started my own healing work years ago, and then I got my certifications, and I use my personal and professional experience with what actually works in healing. I tailor personalized plans for my clients to heal insecure attachment styles, healing from childhood trauma, heal wounds from relationships early in life or later in life with individuals with personality disorders that were damaging, and heal everyday pain points such as procrastination or mastery of your boundaries, all with incorporating the subconscious and unconscious mind, which is how we truly heal because that is where trauma is stored. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, please send me a detailed message via the contact page on my website, and you will receive a follow-up email which will include my session information. Now, jumping into today's topic. Now, real quick, if you're new to attachment styles, there are 4 attachment styles: dismissive avoidant, securely attached, anxious preoccupied, and fearful avoidant, also known as anxious avoidant, ambivalent, or disorganized. The dismissive avoidant attachment style is often initially recognized by people who are in various relationships with them as slow to commit or maybe unwilling to commit romantically, slow to open up emotionally, kind of stoic sometimes, slow to attach romantically, and really, to some people with different attachment styles, kind of a mystery that they're sometimes trying to figure out. This attachment style is primarily formed from childhood neglect. This neglect can fly under the radar, often with their physical needs being met, but in some way they experienced emotional neglect, or it can also be physical neglect as well. But what does that cause them to do later in life? Neglect their own emotions, and this childhood neglect really affects a handful of things in their deepest patterning until they heal their insecure attachment style. Now, each attachment style has common emotional patterning. This is one way of recognizing your own attachment style. And today, we will deep dive into the common emotional patterning of the dismissive avoidant attachment style. We will discuss the emotions that the DA is feeling most frequently. I do want to note that, of course, people feel emotions for all kinds of reasons, be it a bad day or bad experience, but someone's attachment style will be a big part of the mix of emotions that they commonly feel. And we will specifically be talking today about attachment style related emotional patterning, and specifically why it is going on. I do also want to note that some of the emotional patterning that I'm going to discuss in this video will be relatable to people with a fearful avoidant attachment style as well. Maybe not all of it, but some of it, and especially if you have a fearful avoidant attachment style that leans dismissive. The first attachment-based feeling that dismissive avoidants feel on a fairly regular basis is irritation, and there are a couple of different attachment-related reasons for this. The first reason is that dismissive avoidants are often in a state of low-level fight or flight survival mode. This dysregulates the nervous system, and that can cause quite a bit of irritation and feelings of frustration. Dismissive avoidants also quite frequently have lack beliefs. Now, imagine that you feel at a lack with your energy or time or both. If someone simply tries to engage with you, it's going to be frustrating if you feel like you are blowing your candle out at both ends and you don't really have anything left to give, yet feel like more is being taken. As you can imagine, or perhaps as you know, if you have an avoidant attachment style, this is an incredibly frustrating thing. Another reason for the emotional patterning of irritation is in situations in which the dismissive avoidant is being pressed to be more vulnerable than they'd like to be. In someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style, the pressure to be vulnerable can bring on a feeling of shame because of the deeply wired associations to vulnerability or emotional exposure that the dismissive avoidant has. Due to their common core wound of "I am trapped," this can also evoke feelings of irritation. Dismissive avoidants also have a limiting belief that they're not really capable of emotional vulnerability or doing relationships, and this is a very frustrating experience. The feeling of being incapable is a wound layered with the actual experiences of, on some level, recognizing that they do in fact have difficulties with vulnerability in subjective comparison to other attachment styles, even if they don't really know yet about attachment styles. Common emotional patterning number 2 in dismissive avoidant attachment style that I want to talk about today is numbness. Numbing emotions is one of the behavioral coping mechanisms of people with a dismissive avoidant attachment style. This is because way back when they were learning the rules of relationships, which is basically what our attachment style is, our set of beliefs about relationships as we know it, they learned that with feeling emotions comes pain. If you continuously feel emotional pain, it's going to affect your deepest programming about something. Feeling emotions that they could not go to their caretakers with, and that they were never equipped by their caretakers to do something with in a healthy way, equaled a lot of pain for the dismissive avoidant. So the solution was to numb. This can look like dissociating, binging creature comforts, or having beliefs of denial or delay in even recognizing that they're feeling any number of emotions. The third frequent emotional patterning that I want to talk about today of someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style is low-level anxiety and depression. The dismissive avoidant is programmed not to caretake their emotions, not to listen to their emotional needs. And this points to our personality needs. And if you didn't know, we all have personality needs. If we are not meeting these personality needs on a regular basis, it can literally cause depression. The mixture of frequent fight or flight and neglect of emotional needs can lead to anxiety and depression in dismissive avoidant attachment style. There are so many reasons why it is important to heal your attachment style if you have an insecure attachment style. And for the dismissive avoidant, this is one of them. Having an insecure attachment style greatly affects your mental health. The fourth frequent emotional patterning that you will see in dismissive avoidant attachment style is shame. Unfortunately, this is a big basis of what wires in dismissive avoidant attachment style very early on. When the dismissive avoidant child attempted expression of emotions, they were either actively shamed or they were neglected, and this causes the dismissive avoidant child to feel shame. Children are egocentric and trying to make sense of the world, so to the dismissive avoidant child, if their caregivers are not meeting their emotional needs that they have, then it must mean that there's something wrong with these emotional needs, that there's something wrong with them. Something is wrong with me is a frequent limiting belief that dismissive avoidants unfortunately carry until they rewire the core wounds and limiting beliefs of this attachment style. They were literally programmed to believe that something is deeply wrong with them to their core, and this silent belief follows them around subconsciously everywhere. The fifth frequent emotional patterning of dismissive avoidant attachment style that I want to talk about today is feeling emotionally exhausted or even physically drained. Since dismissive avoidants don't naturally tend to and nourish their emotional world, they're emotionally depleted or on very low bars, so their bandwidth is naturally going to be smaller than someone who is caretaking their emotional world and nourishing it, because when you take care of yourself, then you actually have something to give to others and to other things. I hope this video helps to understand the emotional world of the dismissive avoidant so you can better understand why they show up the way that they do in various situations, or so that you can understand yourself better if you are a dismissive avoidant, and importantly, get in touch with your emotions and the why behind them, because this is a skill that once honed will really help you in your journey of healing dismissive avoidant attachment style. If this video was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't, and thank you so much for being here.